Good morning.
Good morning, coffee moaners. Good morning on YouTube. Good morning on podcast, or maybe it's good evening. You're listening to it in the evening on podcast.
Maybe it's tomorrow.
Maybe it's the day before yesterday.
Maybe it's last week. Maybe it's next year.
I was just doing an Instagram live and somebody said to me, "Your tree's still up."
I know.
This was a discussion we were having yesterday. Now, the twinkly lights are so lovely still in the evening and make it really cozy. And I'm not wanting to let go of the ski lodge. And Dina came round yesterday and I said, I want to adapt the ski lodge. She went, just take the Father Christmas out. That's all you need to do. She's taking the skis. And I've suggested, can we do a poll? That what we do is we take, we can't, the Christmas tree decorations off and just leave the lights. So we've got like a winter tree. What do you think? Yes or no? Just say yes or no.
So don't you think the twinkly lights are more twinkly because there's stuff for them to twinkle off?
No, it is a really nice trick, twinkles anyway.
You're just not having it. You're not courting it, are you, at all? It's just the idea that maybe we could leave some baubles.
Yeah, no, I don't really.
What is this rule? Why are we observing this rule?
Because I don't know why. It feels a little bit depressing, and I like to get them out at Christmas and not having seen them for ages. Christmas decorations.
Are you having a laugh? Has everyone seen Vlogmas? At what point did Nadia express an absolute desire to see the baubles suddenly? They came out on the 23rd of December.
Well, that was a lot of things going on. Janine Amory.
Morning.
Says her tree's still up.
Yeah, well, I think this coming weekend is the final litmus test, isn't it, really? This weekend is where things start to move and things start to come down, I think.
Lynn Sheard said, keep the lights, lose the lodge.
Susie Joe says, take it all down. Lynn Sheard, leave the lights, lose the cabin. What about the Snow Village, hey? The Snow Village feels like it could keep expanding. Feels like we need to introduce the ULEZ zone to the Snow Village.
Maybe what we're going to do is take the tree down and just put lights all around the windows so we've still just got twinkly lights.
Mandy Doick says, tree down, get Easter ready.
Oh, God. I'm not ready for Easter.
Is there such a thing as an Easter tree?
Yeah, it started. Of course it is, because there's another way to earn money out of us. Yeah, the Easter decorations have become a bloody thing.
A tree.
Now.
Faith Goodman, candle mass on February the 2nd. You could leave them up as another option.
Yes, it's true.
I like that idea.
Thank you, Faith.
You know what? I just think, why would you want? Because next week is the most depressing week of the year, isn't it?
Monday.
Maybe could it have anything to do with the fact that all Christmas decks are coming down at the same time?
I think it's because people's bills start coming in, don't they? Like we've had no sunlight, we're eating shit.
It's cold, and it's always really cold.
This Saturday's Curly Cooks, actually, we're doing a lot around eating to help boost your serotonin levels and boost your mood and feel better. So
antidepressant. Is it an antidepressive
Curly Cooks, yeah.
Nice, I like that. Morning, Stacey Campbell. Lots of people saying yes. Muriel Roberts, good morning. My tree's still up, says Hilary Daly, because I have the grandchildren I haven't seen yet coming on Saturday.
Oh, we haven't seen them yet.
Sweet.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's sweet. Easter eggs already in shops. Carol Naismith, they were in shops on the 28th of December. Can you believe it?
Oh, God.
But, shops are desperate.
Outrage.
So what are we talking about today? Epstein sex tapes. Are they real? Should we believe it? Who? We're going to be talking about that. We're going to touch upon, we haven't talked about, but we're going to touch upon the post office scandal, triggered back into the news really by the ITV drama. And we're sort of our access point on this is a chat that Richard Madeley was having about his post office master, revolving around the tragedy of suicides, both recognised and unrecognised, or official and unofficial, that have surrounded that drama. There's a curious to-do kicking off at Strictly, even though it's not on. This is surrounding, is it Amanda Abingdon or Abington?
Abington and Giovanni Pernice.
But it's springing into the middle of this. That's what I call magic.
Debbie McGee.
I didn't think Debbie McGee would hit the news headlines again. So we've got Debbie McGee, and what else have we got? Oh, and we've got, what did Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet say to each other? Nads is going to reveal. And I have a few funny clips at the end, and we will also be doing our usual update talk about the Gaza-Israel crisis. So there you go. Take your pick, guys. So shall we look at Jeffrey Epstein first? Shall we get that out of the way?
Yes.
So this is more and more papers on a daily basis are being released in the Jeffrey Epstein case. And, these papers are kind of pushing names into the public realm that become attached to, you know, the dead paedophile Jacob Epstein. Jeffrey, is it Jacob? No, Jacob Epstein. I can never get his first name right. Is it Jacob or Jeffrey?
Jeffrey.
Is it Jeffrey?
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, it is Jeffrey. Where have I got Jacob? Where have I got Jacob Epstein
it's
from?
Very unlike you. Yeah. The sort of thing I do.
Yeah. No, okay, so Jeffrey Epstein. And one of the things that's important about this is, like, names are being mentioned. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio and Cate Blanchett were mentioned in papers that were released earlier this week. And their representatives had to really, you know, put out a statement, because when you look at the context in which their names were mentioned, there was nothing dubious about them whatsoever. So, for example, Jeffrey Epstein was having a massage. The person who was massaging him, whose testimony this was speaking to him, and Jeffrey Epstein came off the phone and said, "Oh, I was just talking to Leo, and that was Kate earlier." And when she said Leo who and Kate who, he said who they were. So it was a phone call. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't go to his island, or they're not on these flight logs and all this kind of stuff. But it's just important. What I suppose the important thing to bear in mind here is, as soon as a name is attached to something, it doesn't necessarily and automatically mean that someone has done something wrong. Because let's face it, Jeffrey Epstein was a public, celebrity-facing person. And yes, he clearly engaged with people you know, who were themselves dubious or had question marks over them, but not everyone. It doesn't mean that because you bumped into him or spoke to him that you're evil.
And it's true, you know, it's easy for us, and I've been guilty of this, where you think, wow, you know, if you went on that island, you must have known what was going on. But of course, I was thinking about that. I was thinking, God, how stupid, Nadia, because of course there'd be dirty weekends and there would be none where, you know, where he would entertain all kinds of people. So it really is just awful that everyone's being lumped into the same kind of behaviours.
But this story that broke yesterday, and obviously the Sun led with it, so it was a big story. This was the idea that Epstein had sex tapes made of Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, and at the moment they're talking about Richard Branson. Richard Branson's people have pushed back, saying subsequent to the person who said there were sex tapes, saying there were sex tapes, they then allegedly, or they did, retract this information in an interview some years later, saying, you know, I wish to withdraw those statements. And then subsequently, in the Daily Mail today, they're reporting that Jeffrey Epstein's, in inverted commas, sex slave now claims that she was forced to retract the allegations that the paedophile made sex tapes after she was threatened with harm by Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think the Sarah Ransom is the person who made the original claims about these sex tapes. She said that he got films in which you could clearly see it was Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, and Richard Branson. Now, we're never going to know, are we? This is how cover-ups happen, if indeed there's a cover-up. They work upon the idea that there's enough doubt for no one to be able to kind of, you know, decide where the truth sits. And so, you know, this is really difficult, I think, you know.
Really difficult for all the people that are accused, because there will always be, people will say there's no smoke without fire. Really difficult for accusers that will know who did and who did. We will just we will never know the truth. Unless we see those tapes, we would never know the truth.
Now, allegedly, apparently, and originally, the Sarah Ransom, is that her name? Interesting that her name is Ransom, isn't it? Suggested that there were a number of USB sticks with this footage on spread around Europe. You know, all of this stuff.
And had she done that? Does she say that she did that in case anything ever happened to her?
Yeah, and I think the idea is that there's some kind of leverage or bargaining chip or something.
So presumably, if she wants now for this, presumably now she could show these tapes if she has them.
Well, I think there's probably going to be a lot of nervousness. I mean, I think Richard Branson's people have come out refuting this, saying this is absolutely outrageous. It's a lie. This woman's testimony has already been revealed. They point to the fact that she then said she retracted this information. I mean, I suppose the point is that if there is any truth to this, and even if you're saying it's absolutely not true at all, yeah, like you say, you're going to live the rest of your life, if you're Branson, and say you had done it, thinking, I wonder if these tapes are going to come out.
Well, no, if you did.
If you did it.
If you didn't, you're going to be thinking the whole time, my God, am I meeting this person now? Am I talking to this person now? And they're thinking that I was one of these, one of this group of awful people. So I think if she has got tapes, she should.
Well, and again, she says she retracted because her family were threatened. So, you know, this.
I mean, the other thing is, if you say you've got tapes of illegal activities, I mean, I don't know, I'm literally posing this question. Do police have rights to demand them if it's been an illegal?
Well, I think if it's you and she has copies of tapes of her friends, so unless it's the person that it's happened to, I don't know. Know. You could be in that curious situation that we found ourselves in. Remember, where the actual taking of the tapes and being in them could in fact be the crime, rather than the fact that the person was doing. Look,
what do you mean, the situation we found ourselves in?
Where there was a neighbour who was doing something, and I was told that I could be done for trying to get evidence of them doing something unspeakable. I mean, you know, the other point to make about these sex tapes, it doesn't necessarily say they're sex tapes with people who are underage either. So, you know, you can have a sex tape that's a sex tape.
Exactly.
But I tell you what it does speak to. It speaks to this whole thing, and subsequent to, I think, things like watching how the mainstream media has an appetite for some stories and doesn't have an appetite for other stories. You do wonder, don't you? You do begin to wonder to what extent the entire upper echelons of society are sewn up. It does beg questions, doesn't it, about who's scratching whose back and who's filming someone scratching whose back in certain situations. So, Faith Goodman, I heard some of the names were just ones mentioned by the girls that Epstein had talked about these people. You're absolutely right. That's the Leo and Kate Blanchett thing. I think sex tapes were made by Epstein to use as blackmail at a later date. Yeah.
That's what the rumor is.
Yeah, absolutely. So that story keeps on rolling along. But it's important to say that as soon as you see a name, it doesn't necessarily mean, for example, the Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Blanchett, it doesn't mean they were, I think the assumption is you think connected with Jeffrey Epstein, they must have all been on the island at underage orgies. It doesn't necessarily mean that at all. Shall we touch upon who saw the post office drama? Who saw the drama on ITV?
Oh, we missed it. We're so annoyed that we missed that.
Yeah.
We've never really spoken about the post office scandal here, have
Horizon scandal. And the scandal, for anyone who's not in the UK, the scandal was around, I think it was Fujitsu was the company. Fujitsu sent us to the North Pole. Could explain why their technology fell apart.
Isn't it called Horizon, though?
Fujitsu was the company behind Horizon, which was the software that the post office would use for accounting. And the problem with it was that basically the accounting software was faulty. But if you're a postmaster, if your balance on your balance sheets comes in under, apparently it's legally your responsibility to make up the money. You know, there's been obviously some kind of.
I suppose in a smaller way, like when I used to work in shops and stuff, or like if your till was down, you had to make the money up, didn't you?
But of course, this was a system that was so wrong that people were running to 10s, 20, 30, 40, 50.
So many of them.
So many of them.
Mind boggles that nobody said, could this be anything wrong with our system?
Yeah.
Oh, ruining so many people's lives.
And then I think the head of the post office got a CBE, so there's an attempt to get her stripped of her honours. Unfortunately, Ed Davey, leader of the Liberal Party, he was in charge of the post office. He was the post office. I didn't know there was a post office minister, but I think he was the post office minister.
Was he?
At the time. And it's not that he didn't do anything, but I think he didn't ask the right questions of the right people at the right times. And so there's a feeling that he perhaps, a bit of oversight there, didn't look into it properly. And a few people, 4 recognised or official suicides have happened due to people being falsely charged, imprisoned, fined, fired. People have had their lives absolutely, transformed, traumatised and destroyed.
And the shame that was brought on them. Edward Bevington said there's 1.5 million have signed it now. Yeah.
1.1 million. Yeah.
1.1. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, Hilary Daly, absolutely unbelievable. The post office scandal, and Paula Venables should definitely give back her CBE. She
should do that herself, shouldn't she?
Post office drama was very emotional. The worst part was when they rang the helpline being told they were the only one having a problem, even though lots of other people were ringing them up. Isn't that terrible?
Can you imagine their feelings of isolation and terror?
Yeah.
Because we were talking about this the other night, weren't we? We had
Annie Phillips, one woman had electric shock treatment because of what they did to her. It's just awful. God. I mean, the extent to which this runs through. And just quickly, just the peg for the, not the peg, but the story that Nadia, you found this morning was Good Morning Britain's Richard Madeley.
Was chatting to his post office person yesterday,
Morning,
I think,
Lee.
and asked her about what she felt about the scandal, and she burst into tears.
Yeah.
And then said that her the postmaster had killed themselves. And there seems to be because I think there was 4 suicides. I was reading the article and they said, does this bring the number to 5? So I'm not sure about that, but and so, you know, so it's just there's differing stories in the papers, but you know, just imagine that. You've done nothing wrong. I mean, the injustice, and like we were talking about this at dinner the other night, weren't we? Had some people around, and it was like, you know, the postmaster, the post office person is often like, not maybe so much,
used to be literally a pillar of society.
Pillar of society. You know, I mean, there's always been a lot of furore, hasn't there? As post office, sub-post offices have closed down because it's the connection for the community. So held in quite esteem. You know, it's a big responsibility. You're looking after money. So then to be pulled down in the eye of your community and your families, because a lot of families turned against them because people were getting themselves in debt, weren't they? Paying back that they knew was they knew they hadn't stolen. I mean,
but I'm guessing over a longer period of time, they were just like, what the hell do we do? But like Hilary Daly says, I think the biggest most shocking aspect of this is that it took a drama to reignite outrage and action and investigation and a more public kind of acknowledgement of a huge, huge miscarriage of justice. And I think for a lot of people here, you're saying you won't buy stamps. You know, I think the Royal Mail is in a right old mess, isn't it?
I mean, the amount they've had to pay out, what was it, something like 56 million or something? And Dina was saying that there was hardly any money left of it because of what they had to pay for the court case. Now, surely they'll get that money back. Surely.
Well, like Lee Dorrance says, what I don't get is so many people were accused. Surely you'd have thought that how can so many people be breaking the law? They would have thought this.
Exactly.
And, you know, hold up, this isn't right.
Exactly.
I totally agree. I mean,
it's because we trust these things and we just shouldn't. There's nobody. Oh, there'll be somebody sorting this out. Oh, guess what? There wasn't. And look at the bloody tragic end to it.
Absolutely.
Oh God,
totally agree. So just Richard Madeley's experience, you know, clearly behind the scenes many more tragic stories, of which we've heard a few, but there are clearly many more. So
because also the other thing, you don't know how people may have lost their lives that it wouldn't necessarily have been marked as suicide. I don't know, turning to all sorts of things to you don't know. We will never know probably the true horror.
Fujitsu had a lot to answer for. They also, I've got a few questions to ask of Fujitsu. Okay, Debbie McGee is back in the news, as is revolving around Strictly. I can't say I'm a Strictly fan, but Strictly partner Giovanni Pernice. Debbie McGee defends former Strictly partner Giovanni Pernice, is that how you pronounce his surname? Pernice? After Amanda Abbington claimed the BBC show left her with post-traumatic stress disorder, and she's demanded footage of rehearsal. She's legally demanding footage.
But is that actually true, or is this rumour that she's... And I always get worried when I say demanded. Has she demanded, or is there a rumour that she's asked? If because the BBC have come out quite strongly, haven't they, and said that
she seeks legal advice. She says,
"Oh right."
Now she wants to review the recordings as she seeks legal advice over his alleged behaviour towards her, as she believes the footage could back up her claims.
I prefer that word, seeks. Demanded. It's just the language around it is just always trying to make her look like a madam.
An on-set source told The Sun the BBC have received a request for the footage. There's a feeling that the recordings will lift the lid on what really goes on behind the scenes on Strictly. Giovanni is a perfectionist, and he can be incredibly full on. I just think, any broadcast just needs to stamp down on sort of massive ego, regardless of how talented you are and how much of an expert you are. Do you think there's a sort of sense that he's just because he's the sort of dancer and he's clever?
Well, I do.
He's good.
I do think, that these shows have become more and more competitive, haven't they? I mean, look at the ice dancing; it's ridiculous. Like some people now in show 2 are being thrown around.
Lollipop says it's called Strictly. What was she expecting?
Yeah, and of course, the dancers are going to be very competitive, and they are. They're given non-dancers, and then these people, these poor contributors, are expected to be stunning within episodes. Because right at the beginning of Strictly, you would really see like a journey of people failing, and so I imagine that the pressure is incredibly hard. And the thing is, anything I've ever done where there is, whether that be charity things, where I've done like challenges, Nobody ever tells you that. Nobody's ever told me the truth of what something's going to be like.
No.
They just don't.
No,
because they wouldn't get people to do it.
And I can say, having got people to make programs, you are a bit loose with the truth because you don't want to kind of explain that.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't do it. And also the other thing to bear in mind is this isn't in any way a defense of him, because you can be an athlete, you can be a perfectionist, and you can still be kind and nice and supportive. So there's a personality aspect that doesn't just mean if you're a perfectionist, it's tough. But they are essentially athletes, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're athletes.
You know, so
they're people that have danced since whatever age, and but you know, we don't know. We absolutely don't know what happened here. But if it's something else, if there was something really unpleasant, there's a difference between driven, isn't it, and being like unkind, or then that would be a different thing. So.
DK1612 says, ballroom dancing is a very, very harsh world. Strictly has tried to polish it, but it's a very harsh environment.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And Edward Bevington, I love how you phrase things sometimes. It's like high-grade army or firemen smashing themselves up for the service, but he was probably a knob.
In your opinion?
Yeah, in Edward Bevington's opinion.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of funny clips, but I think everyone is gasping and gagging to know, Nadia, what did Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet really say to each other? Actually, I want to know more. What did Taylor Swift and
we haven't got that
Selena
yet.
Gomez say? This is at the Golden Globes. Timothée Chalamet, Wonka, was in, came out, stepped out with his new beau. Or not, I don't know how new she is, Kylie Jenner. What were they saying?
So I've had ages ago, the girls said to me, oh God, Chalamet's going out with Kylie. No, he isn't. And then over the months, they've shown me photos of them kissing. I went, no, that's not real. I just haven't been able to accept that they're going out together.
I know,
because
you've refused
as sweet
it.
as she is, there ain't a lot going on up there that I've seen in any interviews with her, in my opinion.
With Tim?
No, just as herself.
Oh,
and I
Kylie.
imagine that
right.
Tim, because he's a damn fine actor, I imagine, I don't know, that he's all up here. But anyway, so the lip reader has revealed that the exchange began with Chalamet telling Kylie, "You're the best." This is while they're looking into each other's eyes.
That's it.
And then she kisses, and then they kiss, and then she holds his necklace and says to him, "This is really elegant. It's black."
You are joking.
No. To which he replied, "You like it?" And then she assures him, "Yes, it's so nice."
Oh my God. This is
Then
mind-numbingly boring.
Into her eyes as he sweetly says, "I love you." And Kylie then says, "I love you back."
Oh God, it's so deep.
But I love, my favourite bit out of it is, "I like your necklace. It's black."
Wow. So she's quite observant.
You like it? Yeah, I like it.
She's got a huge command of adjectives.
Oh,
well, mind you,
bless
just a
them.
simple conversation. It wouldn't have been said like that. Maybe it's like, "Oh, I really like your necklace. Oh, it's black." Maybe she just didn't notice it. You know what I mean?
No, but the photos are all like this.
Yeah. May Edmondson, has anyone watched Saltburn and is it good? Check out our review.
And on that, the showbiz, we did our first showbiz of 2024, which went up yesterday. Did it go up yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it went up yesterday, where we talk about all the gossip that went on.
Yeah. You posted about it, I think.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? But hang on, Zoe, you say that they say on TikTok they know what Selena and Taylor said. What did they say? Look it up. What did they say? Even I want to know what Selena Gomez and Taylor Swift said.
Look it up. You find things quicker than I do.
My phone. Okay.
Oh God! Don't push my phone.
No, I wasn't pushing your phone. You
did.
Well, I did. Yeah, because your phone is just
pushed
awful.
it.
Well, it's an awful phone.
No, but
Taylor Swift.
You bought it.
Selena. For me. Zoe, it might be quicker and more engaging for everyone who's listening for you to just tell us.
It's quite hard to find things quickly.
Yeah, it is really hard to find things quickly. What did they say?
What did they say?
What is my well? No. It doesn't.
Laura Dion, I hear you. I had to have a full discussion with my kids yesterday because they were saying, "Oh, you'd love it," and then they told me some of the things that are in. But apparently, you can visually fast forward.
Of course, you can.
You don't need to watch those bits for the.
You
plot.
can't if you're in the cinema. But
no.
Shall I explain what he does?
No, do not you dare explain what he does, and I really do mean that. Right, so.
Oh, she asked him for a photo and Kylie didn't. Oh, it was that. Oh, okay. That's
that's what we said yesterday.
Yeah, that's what we kind of gathered.
It hadn't been confirmed with the lip readers. Is that with the lip readers?
I tell you what, though, when Taylor Swift looks stern, she really looks.
And so she
stern.
should, as we say in the reason for that. We chat about that in the Showbiz episode we did yesterday. So check that out.
Yeah, apparently Selena wanted a photo. Yes, no, I thought maybe we knew something more. But
check it out. We discuss it.
So this story. Party goer. I just thought this. If you want to have a smile, party goer gets stuck inside a giant urn on New Year's Eve. Watch this. I'm stuck. Someone's got to get a fucking hammer.
He's so drunk. Grouchy New Year's Eve guest who got stuck inside a giant. He's really cross.
Clips of the trap man referred to as Connor struggling to free himself. Look at his face.
I mean, that is nobody else's fault except his own.
Look at the panic on his face.
Oh, he's actually really scared.
Yeah, well, you would be. It'd be like, how do I get out? We have a man stuck in a decorative urn at his Mountain Brook house. We have a drunk man, I repeat, in a large decorative urn. Eventually took a hammer and chisel.
These are the stupid things we do when we're drunk, aren't we? We really think that we're going to...
They should have buttered him up and got him out, they're saying. This is very funny.
Oh, my God.
Very funny. And finally, this is... Where is it? Oh, check this out and see if you expected this to happen. What's this? Keep watching. Now watch this.
Let the sweet cuddly mayhem commence.
The sweet cuddly mayhem
75,000.
What?
What an event. I mean, obviously, look at the Bears. I've been able to be a part of it a handful of times here, but this doesn't get old. So, watching these Bears come, I heard something earlier that they're trying to get over 90,000.
Oh my God.
They're trying to break the record. Look at them all. They're trying to get over 95,000.
Please tell me they do something with those.
74,500 stuffed animals rained down on an ice hockey match for the Teddy Bear Toss in Pennsylvania. The match between the Hershey Bears and the Lehigh Valley was paused for 50 minutes as the toys thrown down for players were collected and then given to local charities.
Oh,
isn't that lovely?
That's insane.
Isn't it crazy?
I love that.
And finally, I didn't get the bloody still in. There's a brilliant image of Paul Giamatti. Is it Giamatti? Yeah, Giamatti, who won his Golden Globe for his role in The Holdovers. There's an image of him at what's it called? What's that burger joint called? In-N-Out Burger, where he's just sat with his Golden Globe on his way home.
That.
I wish I could show you the photo.
Oh my God, we are seeing the photo.
No, but they're not. I didn't upload it. So, but what I'll do is I'll pop it on the community tab, and you'll be able to see it as a photo. It's brilliant. Okay, so finally, Israel, Gaza. So for anyone who wants to head off at this point, you are more than welcome.
But if you are heading off, as I say, check out the Showbiz video we did yesterday. Last night I did my second Why Do We Hate Our Bodies live chat. That's uploaded. You can watch that. There's 2 episodes now, so you can watch 2 of those. And then if you want to submit your story, your body image story, and maybe it'll be one of the ones I read out.
Yeah, really helpful, really amazing what you're doing there, and it's helped so many people.
Me.
Oh, that's great.
That's the thing, because
when you hear, a meeting?
Yeah, totally. Because it's not like me doing it. It's like me sharing and then getting stuff back that keeps me on the track of not having that stinking thinking, not going bonkers with it.
So there you go. Also,
subscribe to the channel, guys, if you haven't already. It's free, doesn't cost you a penny, and you get tons of content.
And a historic home time will be landing tonight too, and new home times for 2024 will be landing as of this weekend. So in terms of Israel, I just wanted to share this story. I think I talked recently over the Christmas period, obviously where Nanny Di lives, Shadwell. It's a part of London which is a principally Muslim community. And it was quite unusual when I came out of the station to see, not massively, but there was a Palestinian flag. And it was just like, oh, wow, there's a Palestinian flag. And obviously in some of the windows, because many people there, the vast majority are Muslim, there's huge empathy, sympathy and support for the Palestinian cause. And I just wanted to know what people thought of this. Pro-Israel lawyers are demanding that the Metropolitan Police investigate what they call intimidating Palestinian flags in Tower Hamlets. And they actually name Shadwell. So pro-Israel legal campaign group UK Lawyers for Israel has called for the Met Police to investigate the proliferation of Palestinian flags. Now, the thing about this, because the suggestion is that they're intimidating Jewish people and may encourage violence against them. Now, of course, there has been a completely concurrent rise in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia as a consequence of this conflict. But I don't know if flying a flag for a nation or your nation, different to flying a Hamas flag, can be in and of itself described as some kind of hateful act.
Well, I think what you have to do is you say, would that be the same for an Israeli flag?
Exactly.
No, it wouldn't. And, and when you think about how there were Ukrainian flags everywhere that you went, it brings you back to the question. It brings you back to that question again. Why is a Ukrainian life more valuable than a Palestinian?
Ukrainian.
Yeah, we were getting the numbers at the time of how many had been. They're equal. It's equal. And there are no two ways about it. There is on a daily basis, they are being bombed into the ground. So I don't really think I have any words left.
I think my only point on this is that a flag in and of itself cannot, obviously race hate, obviously, aggressive graffiti and things like that. But I think flying a flag has to be likewise. One wouldn't call out, are there huge areas in North London or areas where there are predominantly Jewish communities, Israeli flags
I'm sure
being
if
flown?
the Golders Green and areas like that, and the thing is also, I'm still thinking of the people that still have hostages in there as well. What's that like when your government just keeps on bombing relentlessly? It is just, the situation there is just horrendous. And I think if we're quibbering?
That's a good word.
about this poor Palestinian flag. I mean, it was given to them how long ago? Then it was taken away. Then it was given back. Now they want to take it away again. Insane.
And also, does it not surely speak to, that's the very thing that we fought for, isn't it? The ability to freedom of expression. And as long as you're not promoting terrorism or agreeing with violence and all this kind of stuff, surely, Israelis, Jewish, Palestinians, Muslims, fly whatever flag.
I can't wait for them to ban the watermelon. That's going to be interesting.
And also in CNN, a British surgeon who's been leading an emergency medical team in central Gaza has described the situation at Al-Aqsa Hospital as beyond any doubt the worst thing he's seen in his career. I was listening to an interview on Radio 4 yesterday in the car, and apparently in middle Gaza, as they're calling it, there's one hospital just about working, but it doesn't have enough surgeons. And so children, women, and people brought in are dying of things that they shouldn't be dying of, sort of infections of wounds, shrapnel wounds, etc. The way he did, and this was Radio 4, this was the lunchtime news on Radio 4. He also described the fact that he said there is now only one fully functioning hospital, potentially for everyone in Gaza, in Rafah, right in the south. And he was talking to the idea that if you remove and destroy the capacity to have any healthcare, it is another stealth-like way of removing and displacing a population. Because if you're a parent and you have a child who's injured, you're going to go to whatever lengths are necessary. And I think this is where the unspeakability and the absolutely inability to justify the bombing of a hospital based on often, not always, but spurious claims, and then retrospectively shored up claims of HQs and all this kind of stuff. It can't stand in any war scenario. It shouldn't stand against Israel. It shouldn't stand against
this British
Palestine.
Surgeon that's been going back and forth for the last 15 years. has said when he was asked, what of the accusations that, that they're targeting hospitals, because obviously the IDF have said that's not so. And he said, it categorically is, didn't it? He said, categorically it is. And he said he's seen the worst things that he's ever seen in his career. Just absolute. It's a horror story out there. Absolute horror story.
And this doctor yesterday was saying he had to come back because he's been out there for, I think, 2 months. He's come back for a 7-week reprieve. He said to take stock, be with his family, and then he said he's going to head back out there. But he said the failing health system he feels a very passive-aggressive, though aggressive way of forcing families and innocent Palestinians into having to consider leaving the country. Now, I know to everyone
but
it seems...
that's not easy anyway.
No, I know it seems to everyone a very simple solution, leave the country and then come back in. If only it were quite so simple. When you leave the country, there is no guarantee that you will be able to get back in because Israel controls the borders. So there is
also the restriction of food. I mean, watch Owen Jones on Instagram live yesterday, one of the fantastic journalists there that we follow. I didn't realise he wasn't originally a journalist. He could leave tomorrow. Because he has Canadian thing. He said, I'm not leaving. And there's so many of us like that. And they know that every day this could be their last day as a journalist. But he said that the food, he said what the aid that you see coming in, he goes, really is a PR stunt from America. It's dribbled in. They're having to fight for everything, food, water, electricity, the lot.
Mandy Durk, I'd be really curious to know. It's a horror story on both sides. I'm curious. It was a horror story, absolutely, on October the 7th. Absolutely. But I want to know, are you talking from the hostage perspective? Of course, for the hostage families, absolutely. It's absolutely hideous. But I think what we're seeing in Palestine and Gaza specifically is, apparently, it's about to have become the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet at the moment. So it's rapidly running past the humanitarian crises of famine and starvation and attempts of ethnic cleansing in other areas of the world, in African places like that. So it's literally been fast-tracked up, and it's a horrible analogy, the league table of humanitarian crises. So it's become the worst. So I think, not that anyone is kind of sitting in a sort of competitive place as to who's got it worse than who. I think if many, many organizations are saying this is the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet, and you are the country bombing that place, presumably that's why, and I trust and I hope that many Israeli ministers are themselves stepping back from the war cabinet
maybe we need to
and saying,
stop.
I think maybe we have just about exhausted the self-defense argument for now. And then obviously there has to be some kind of negotiated peace after that ensures that Israel is safe and that Palestine is safe.
I mean,
Simple.
Again, this doctor was talking about the fact that children are being operated with zero pain relief. Zero. If you can't imagine anything else, imagine that. Imagine that's your child. That should be. I would like to get each one of these people in power and just sit them down, make them watch a video of that happening, and then maybe we could get some sanity back on the table here. Because at the moment, we seem to be in such an insane spot. It's like the justifications that we're hearing all the time. It's like. Have we all gone mad?
And just finally, I just want to quote directly King Abdullah of Jordan, who said
where my parents are at the moment.
In a speech, he said, the conflict in Gaza is creating an entire generation of orphans. More children have died in Gaza than in all other conflicts around the world this past year. Of those who have survived, many have lost one or both parents, an entire generation of orphans.
And many of them have lost their entire family. They've got babies that they've got absolutely no connection to anywhere. The Palestinian love their children. They'll be absorbed back in. People will take them on, but...
And he goes on to say, without a just peace on the basis of the two-state solution, this is an Arab state, the world will continue to pay a heavy price for failing to resolve this conflict, and we will never know true peace and stability in the Middle East. So, it's pretty damn obvious. Call for a ceasefire, stop it, negotiate. And at that point, when Hamas potentially don't observe the ceasefire, then we need to get back around, then we need to start talking again. Do you know what I mean? We need to try something different. That's my sense of it. And of course, yes, there's the South African challenge, isn't there, against Israel coming up in the next couple of days.
But do check out Owen Jones on YouTube and on Instagram if you want to know more about everything that's going on.
Okay, guys, have a lovely day, and we are now going to end the stream.